this guy, and on the way home, I was trying to figure out why, and I think I figured it out, and I wanted to share this story because I think it may be helpful. All right, so people who are dicks don't really activate me. Angry men do activate me because I used to be very angry. A lot of times we are activated by people who remind us of ourselves or parts of ourselves that we have created distance from or maybe healed from. It's usually the old you that if you see in someone else, you get activated, right? And so angry men definitely activate me. I don't feel like I have a lot of time for uh, rage and angry men. At the same time, I feel like those are the people that I should have the most empathy for because I used to be just like them, right? Anyway, this coffee shop guy wasn't angry. He was actually the opposite. He was extremely nice. And I think there's a difference between kind and nice. I like kind. Nice annoys the shit out of me. And what I mean by nice is like people who exchange truth for some kind of membership. Um, Nice as in spineless, as in the yes guy, right? Okay, I'm jumping the gun a little bit. So here's the story. So 6 a.m., get my coffee, and the guy says, uh, "What would you like?" I say, "Can I get a drip with a little almond milk?" And he he says, "Oh, okay. So you want a drip coffee?" And he's waiting for me to say yes. I say yes. Uh, and you want almond milk? And I'm like, yes. Okay. And he types that in, and then he's like, "What is your name?" And the I understand that as a barista, they all ask for your name, but I'm the only person in the whole store at 6 a.m. It's not Starbucks, so it's not corporate. And also, the if you order drip coffee, you just turn around and grab it behind you, right? It's not you don't pass it to the person that makes the fancy coffees. There's no system. You just turn around, get the drip, and give it to the person that's ordering. So it's pretty instant. And so the fact that he's asking for my name, also 6 a.m., I just woke up. I just want my coffee. You know what I'm talking about, right? So I said, "Yeah, my name is John." So then he turns around, grabs the coffee, and then he puts it on the counter. And he takes out the almond milk and he says, "John, I'm the only person in the coffee shop. Yes, here I am." I get the coffee and he holds the almond milk up and he says, "Okay, here's your coffee." And he holds the almond milk up as in, "I want to confirm that this is what you want." Literally 7 seconds ago, he confirmed twice already that it's a black drip coffee, and yes, I want almond milk. So we're talking 7 seconds. We're not talking a few minutes with multiple customers, and he forgot. And here's what's bothering me. He doesn't just pour it, he's waiting for me to say yes. I know he's being nice, I understand, but he holds up the coffee, he holds up the almond milk, and now he's waiting for me to say yes to pour the almond milk. Listen, if you're listening, I get it. You're like, what why does that bother you, John? Well, it bothered me a lot. I was like, yeah. I looked at him for a second. I was like, dude, I this is the third time me saying almond milk. Yes. Anyway, so he does it. I go. I take the milk. I take the coffee. I'm on my way home, and I'm sitting with myself. And this is the important piece, right? Because the old John Kim would just be a reaction and wouldn't review or reflect, would just move on annoyed. The new John Kim, hopefully, uh, will take a beat and reflect and figure out, bring it back to self, right? Where is this coming from? So on the way home, I was thinking, why did that guy activate me so much? He was just being nice. Logically, I know he was just being nice. And then I thought there's something deeper happening. And what was happening was he reminded me of, a part of me back when I was in my, late 20s, the approval seeking, super nice, didn't, the guy that like you have lunch and you're like, "What do you want?" And he says, "Whatever you want." And you're like, "No, wait, what do you want?" "No, well, whatever you want." Like the the yes man, right? And that's why he was so annoying to me this morning, was because he was hanging on my every word and seeking an answer instead of just doing things on his own. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, instead of just taking care of it, he had oh, maybe that's the other piece too, was not only was he a yes man, but he was almost like he needed to be babied. He couldn't make decisions for himself, right? And maybe that's kind of a stretch based based on him getting me. Maybe he was new and he was just being nice. I get it, but it reminded me of a man, or maybe a boy in this case, uh, because because he wasn't able to make decisions for himself. He kept looking for me for instructions. He would ask me the same question over again and again. He was kind of seeking something from me, and fuck, I would rather he just be a dick. I'd rather he just be like, "Yo, what the fuck do you want?" And I'm like, "Coffee with almond milk." And he says to me, "Whatever. I'm not gonna give you shit." Or okay, whatever. And then he, like, throws it at me. That wouldn't annoy me that much. I would almost respect that more than someone who's like, "Are you sure do you want this? Do you want me to pour this into this? Is that what you?" Anyway, it's all about learning about yourself, right? So always following the string down, as I say. All right, let's get to your questions. We have two questions today. One is, stuck in a cycle of defensiveness with my partner. How do we navigate? Great question. And then the other question is situation shit. It's actually situationship, but I'm notorious for misspelling, so it says situation shit, which I actually didn't don't I think it's more appropriate, right? How do I deal with it? Okay, so the first question: stuck in a cycle of defensiveness with my partner. How do I navigate? I have a friend, and he told me the story. I love the story because it's just so simple. He said he was in couples therapy with his then wife, and they were talking about how she leaves the cabinets open and how it bothered him. And the therapist said, "Well, why don't you just close them?" And of course, that's not what you want to hear, right? Because you're like, "Well, she left the fucking cabinets open. She should close them. I'm not her dad, or I'm not her whatever. She opens them, she closes them. Like, why should I do it, right?" And he decided one day, he's like, "Fuck it." Like, the therapist is just right. Why don't I just close the cabinets? Why am I getting so mad? Now, of course, if it's a pattern and it's happening for a long time, I could understand that. But he decided to just close the cabinets instead of making a big deal out of it. And it worked, meaning there was no fight. And then eventually, I think he did it a couple times. And then eventually she started closing her own cabinets, right? And I share this story because I love how simple it is and how, like, everyday life it is. But also, um, when it comes to being defensiveness, we're both usually unwilling to let go of the tug of war rope, right? Usually because of ego, or because of not wanting to be wrong, all these reasons, right? And sometimes, if you just decide to let go, if you just decide, okay, I'm not going to be defensive, I'm not going to fight, I'm going to let my partner do whatever they want, but I'm going to not be defensive, and let's see if things change. And usually it will change, because now you're not repeating the same dance, right? You're disengaging. And by disengaging, the dynamic will change. Now, this doesn't mean for you to be a pushover. This doesn't mean for you to sacrifice self or abandon yourself. It just means that sometimes someone needs to just close the cabinets instead of waiting, instead of having the standoff, right? In relationships, we can definitely, because of each of us holding on to anger, resentment that builds, we could have the standoff. And what happens is people become very defensive. Defensiveness, one of the four horsemen, according to the Gottmans, um, of why the plane will surely go down. If two people are defensive, like, you can't build on that, you know what I'm saying? Like, eventually it's like, imagine, one of the pistons in your engine just stops pumping, and, the over time, the engine's gonna stop, it's gonna break, the plane's gonna go down because, when people are defensive, you're not able to repair. There is no repair with defensiveness. People have to actually own, be accountable, create a safe space, make the other person feel validated, seen, heard, in order for there to be a healing uh, process, a healing experience. And it's not about the ruptures. There's always going to be ruptures, small ones, big ones. It's just life in any relationship, not just your romantic, intimate relationships, but also friendships. I mean, especially with family, right? There's ruptures all the time. It's about the repair. And if you don't have the ability, if you and your partner don't have the ability to repair, I think either your relationship's going to be short lived, or it's not going to be high quality. Your relationship's going to be a grayed out, people doing life around each other, possibly fake, unsatisfying kind of white knuckling relationship. I think. Anyway, so going back to your question, stuck in a cycle of defensiveness with my partner, how do I navigate? Well, my answer is, why don't you just close the cabinets? Meaning, why don't you take the first step and not be defensive? I'm not saying that that's the pattern. I'm not saying to allow your partner to always be defensive and you're the one that's always not going to be defensive, because, of course, then you're going to harbor resentment, anger. It's going to be lopsided. I get it. But my ask is, why don't you just put the rope down once or twice, not be defensive. See, because you do have the power, um, to change any dynamic of the relationship, because you are half of that relationship in any relationship, right? It's interesting because you can say, well, you know, as much as I want to fix this, I'm only 50%. That's one way to look at it, because that is true. You can't change people, you can't force people to change. Um, but the other way to look at this is 50% is a lot. 50% is half. And so you also have the power to change the dynamic of the relationship, because you're half the relationship. So by being non defensive, and hopefully that is a decision that is empowering, that you make for you, right? You're not giving your partner something. This is not a gift. It may feel that way, but it's you drawing a line in the sand for you and who you are and how you want to show up. So if you say, uh, man, I don't, for me and my growth and my evolution, I don't want to be defensive anymore, or I'm going to try to be less defensive. Um, that's for you. That gold star goes on your report card. That's not you sacrificing anything or taking one for the team. That's building your character. So that's the way that I would look at it. All right, next question about the situation shit. Situationship. How do I deal with it? And this is something that I get all the time at people. First of all, I don't like the word deal with. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's such a disempowering word. Like, how do I deal with this? So they'll say, my partner is this way, or blah blah blah, this is my situation, how do I deal with it? How do I deal with a broken heart? How do I deal with an abusive partner? How do I deal with, and I don't think it's about dealing with, because the idea of dealing with something to me sounds like you're putting up with, that you're ignoring, that you're just, taking you're just suffering, right? I'm just going to deal with it. I'm just going to sit in the discomfort of the pain, not in a healthy way, but just like, because it is what it is, right? There's almost a giving up, right? And so I don't like the how do I deal with it, that whole term. But going back to your the situationship. All right. First, what is a situationship? Situationships can be defined as romantic relationships with no clarity or label, right? They might include affection, sexual behaviors, and spending time together, but also involve low levels of commitment. Simply put, a situationship is essentially a relationship without any commitment. It's like, you know what it is? You connect with someone and it's vague. It's vague. It's like, yeah, I don't know, what is this? Are we going somewhere? Is this dating? Now, here's the thing. I don't know if situations are always bad, like it depends on your mindset because maybe the fact that there is no label is what's prescribed for you. Maybe if you're someone who is always trying to put things in boxes, who dates someone and says, okay, I only want to continue uh, if it's going to go somewhere, right? If you do a lot of that kind of future tripping and put a lot of weight on the future and which pulls you out of the present, maybe it's good that you're in a situationship. Maybe it's not a situation shit. um, I know a lot of people who will only date someone, who will only invest in someone if they see a future. And I get that. I get that we don't want to waste time. I understand as we get older, we have less time, we get more picky. We don't want to just go on frivolous dates. I get it. But if you always have to label something and that is your pattern, I think it really strips you of um, being curious and being in the moment, And a lot of times we go on dates, we collide with someone, we may even, get intimate. Uh, uh, and it may be a single serving, meaning it was just that week or that, I don't know, it could be that night, it could be that magical summer. And maybe it's not meant to go anywhere further. Like maybe that's it. Maybe it's not about marriage and kids and what you can build with this person, right? Anyway, my question is, how do you deal with it? I would reframe this. I would reframe a situation ship as um, I have connected with this person. And first, can I just say, can you celebrate the connection? We are so fast to want more. We are so fast to want the promise. Um, First, just even if you have a crush on someone, and even if that crush isn't reciprocated, instead of jumping to feeling rejected, internalizing, just celebrate your aliveness. Just celebrate that you have a crush on someone, especially if you haven't in a long time. There's value in that. There's life in that. There's love in that. You know, and then if it turns into something, and you guys start connecting and sharing experiences, whether they're intimate, it could be conversations, it could be flirting, it could be sex, whatever it is. Stay there for a minute. This is part of dating, and ask yourself what you like about this, how you feel with these experiences. Don't jump to baby names. Don't jump to can I build a long-term relationship with this person? Do I see myself marrying? Like these very pressured questions. Uh, it's going to play out. The more time you spend with this person, it's either going to turn into something or it's not. And I think just trusting that and sitting in the situation, sitting in the situation and actually enjoying it. Now, okay, been 6 months, or the person is being kind of vague, or you start to feel like, you know what, I'm kind of ready for something more. Then that's fair. And then I definitely think, of course, you have a right to say, ask for whatever, express how you feel about the person and what you want this to be. That's totally fair, but not on the second date. You know, I think anything that can get you to get the power back, anything that gets you to reframe, uh, to not have to look at things as something you're dealing with, but things that you do have a choice in, is going to get you to feel less like a victim, right? How do I deal with something? Sounds very victimy, and being a victim or feeling like a victim or staying there is one of the most powerless stages, right? It's the to me stage, not the for me or by me or through me stage. Wait, wrong order. To me, by me, for me, through me. So being in a victim state is one of the lowest frequencies, I think. Take the power back. You define what you want, express how you feel, and And then if it doesn't work for you, um, then that's it is what it was, and it doesn't minimize what you guys had, right? I had a client, or I have a client who she met someone, never met, I forgot how she met, but they met and they just became like FaceTime buddies or phone buddies. Actually, not even FaceTime, just phone. So they started talking on the phone, and I think the phone is one of the most intimate ways to connect. To be honest with you, I mean, besides in person, I think the phone, having someone in your ear, like right now, how you're listening to me on this podcast, that's more intimate than I think FaceTime or seeing someone, calling via someone via like a video chat. Um, there's something about it reminds me of high school. Remember in high school when we used to have when our phones were just for like talking to people, and we would talk for hours. Remember when phones were connected to our walls? We'd talk for hours. We would be on the phone with someone and we wouldn't even be talking. We would just be doing shit. Just the fact that they were on the phone next, on the other line meant something. But the conversations where you watch the sun come up with someone in high school, you know what I'm talking about? Talking to someone till 3 in the morning, right? Those are very intimate. And maybe because I'm older and I was around then, maybe that's why I think phone conversations were more intimate than FaceTime and Zoom and all that. But anyway, okay, so I digress. Digress. This client, she had a relationship, a full-on relationship with someone just on the phone, and there may have been some like sexting and some flirting and some I don't know, dirty talk, stuff like that, but they never met. They never saw each other, and there was value in that. And what I loved about that, now eventually, of course, they were going to, right? I mean, that's not like a forever thing. I get it. But what I loved was they both um, enjoyed it. They both didn't want anything more. They both liked the fact that they were just kind of like romantic phone partners, you know. And I just love that because it's so rare that people don't want anything more and they're okay with that for now, you know, and with where they were at in their lives, both in transition and also long distance, this was enough. And you have to decide, because now there's also a danger in this, because if you're now falling in love with someone or filling in a lot of blanks or fantasizing about this person, if the relationship is becoming consuming and now you're dependent on this person texting you, calling you, then yeah, you got to express that. You got to be honest with yourself. But if that in your life is just what you need, a phone buddy or a phone sex buddy or whatever, uh, great. It's okay. It doesn't have to be anything more, you know? Anyway, um, hey, if anyone activates you, just a reminder to bring it back to you, like I did today, and ask yourself where that is coming from, because it's valuable information. It really is growth soil, right? And you'll probably discover that it's coming from a place that is not on the surface, but somewhere deeper. And maybe what you're seeing is a reflection of you or the old you. Thank you for listening. Be well. Oh, real quick, something I'm really excited about. Um, I'm working on it, so it's coming out. Single on purpose, the app. We're building it. It's coming out. I'm so excited about this. Uh, a lot of people these days hate swiping. And if you're one of them, look out for it, because I'm going to talk a lot about this app. And I'm connecting like minded people who are working on themselves first, to be in here doing that, and also um, engaging with each other. This app is going to be designed in a way where if you have something in common with someone, their circle literally grows, and you could create your own um, community in this app. So it's not just about like videos and me showing up doing lives and all that stuff, content and video courses. It's more about like-minded people engaging with each other who are single and all working on themselves first. So super excited about this, the Single on Purpose app. It'll be out, uh, I think, around 6 weeks or so. I don't know when you're gonna hear this, but just look out for it on my all my channels. Thank you for listening. Be well.